Hi, I'm Steve from Oasis. We're into Luke chapter 20. It's the last week of Jesus' life, and the battle is hotting up with the religious authorities. Jesus is openly teaching in the temple, he's serving people, he's explaining the good news to them of who he is, when along comes an impressive delegation of chief priests, scribes and elders, and their intention is in true Andrew Marr style to ask questions that catch him out or trip him up, and not just so they can get some kind of upper hand in the situation, but so that they have a basis to try and kill him. And two things from these verses stand out to me particularly. First of those is the ugliness of unbelief, the unwillingness of the religious authorities, despite hearing and seeing all the wonderful things that Jesus had done and said, to fully acknowledge who he is. And so out of their fear, it leads to an array of unpleasant tactics, deceptive scheming, hostile public confrontation, attempts to intimidate him, and spying. And they've made up their minds already. This man needs to die. And in stark contrast to this horrible hatred, we see the magnificence of Jesus, the way in which Jesus discerns and exposes their heart motives is masterful and breathtaking, to the extent that even the religious leaders themselves marvel at him. But in addition to his wise and remarkable answers that he brings in a calm and dignified manner, we see that Jesus is in complete control of everything that's happening around him. Firstly, he's in control of the whole situation. We know that the plan of these religious leaders is to take Jesus' life, but in these days leading up to his death on the cross, it's so clear that Jesus is the one who is actually voluntarily laying down his life for us. He's not being robbed of it. He's giving it for us and to us. And he knows where all this is heading. And in many ways, he is precipitating the end by his very actions. And at one point in these verses, the leaders, they just want to grab him there and then. But it's all in Jesus' timing and in his Father's hands. And as the clock ticks down to the Passover, Jesus is preparing to offer himself as a pure and spotless sacrificial lamb. And nothing less than that will actually rescue us. We see also that Jesus is in command of all those that are opposing him. They think they're the ones in control with their clever questions and with all their plodding, but actually they're just playing out what God had prepared beforehand. And it's actually Jesus that confronts them with the ugliness and cruelty of their unbelief and their hard-heartedness. And he does that through the parable of the wicked tenants. Many of Jesus' parallels are somewhat obscure and hidden in their meanings, but this one is very different. It's like a dummy's guide to parables, if you like. It's so clear who everyone is. And that's very clear to the religious leaders, who in this parable are represented by the tenants, who shockingly and brutally kill the beloved son of the vineyard owner. We see Jesus is in complete control of all of this. And finally, he's in command of himself as well, despite the awareness of what lies ahead of him, the hostility of the nation's leaders, the sense of loneliness amongst his own disciples who still don't fully get what is going on. We see Jesus majestically calm, full of authority, clarity of purpose, and a determination to complete his love-driven mission. Well, what can we personally take from all of this today? Well, firstly, surely this is a call to worship this majestic King with awe and gratitude, the one who didn't shrink back from what he had to go through, who would not allow himself to be swerved off course, and who wasn't disqualified in any way from what he came to do. Let's worship him today with all our hearts. And secondly, these verses are a call to place ourselves fully under the command of this magnificent King. You know, I find myself in these gospel accounts identifying very quickly with the sincere but somewhat foolish disciples. I often miss the fact that, like the religious leaders, there can be times when I also question his authority. These verses are a reminder for me and you to fully submit to this majestic Saviour, trusting that he knows what is best for me. God bless you. Hope you have a great day.